my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jenny and I make fashion, beauty, and lifestyle videos here on my channel every single week. And today I have another DIY for you guys. I'm really excited about this. I have another Valentine's DIY, so if you are interested in seeing what I came up with today, then please keep watching. Okay, so for my first DIY, I used these beautiful roses from the Dollar Tree. I got sort of a light, almost cream colored rose, and then a sort of light peach, and then a darker peach. And then I didn't end up using the one with the polka dots, but I did use a burlap ribbon, and then this little tinsely heart hanging thing. And so those are the supplies you'll need if you're going to recreate this. So the first thing that I did is I'm going to remove the tinsel from this heart thing. It's really simple. It's just tied around there. It's not like glued down or anything. So you just kind of cut the first one and then start unraveling it. And once I was finished with that, I took all of the buds off of my rose stems. So I used 2 bundles of each color. So here I'm showing you my little pink tray. I got a few of these at the Dollar Tree to use for my DIYs, and these are great. You can find them in the school supply section to use for your glue guns or paint or anything like that, and they work really well. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that I know how many flowers I need. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to glue them on to each of the crisscross points on the little wreath form. So that way I know where the flowers are going to stick. And the honest truth is this is hard to get into a heart shape, but I still think it turned out beautifully. So once I finished with the cream colored flowers, I went ahead to the light peach. I wanted this to sort of look like an ombre effect. So I went ahead and got started on the light peach and did the exact same thing. And then, of course, when the light peach was done, I moved on to the dark peach. So I feel like I got better at each heart, making it look more like a heart. The first one was a little rougher, and then I got kind of better at the form as I went along. And once I was finished, this is what it looked like. Next, I made just a quick jute string hanger for it so it would hang on my door, which I just tied a loop of jute through the original hanger part of it and tied a knot. I figured that once I got it to my door, I could tie another knot to make it the length that I wanted it to be. But I wanted a piece of jute so that I could tie a burlap ribbon on the top of this. And here, sorry I'm out of frame a little bit, is me tying the bow. I just tie it like I'm tying my shoelaces. I make 2 loops and then tie it into a little bow. And I went ahead and made this little bow for the top of it. It's very basic. I felt like with the flowers, I just wanted a very basic little burlap bow here. And I'm going to dovetail the ends of it and just glue the jute to the bow so that the little tails are hanging down around the flower wreath. Okay, for the next DIY, I forgot to get like a setup of the materials, but I'm starting with these two love signs. I'd already removed a galvanized heart from one of them to use for a different project, but I'm going to remove the galvanized heart from this one and I'm going to use it for this project. So sometimes these are kind of tricky to remove. I've never actually broken one, but they do bend pretty easily. So I removed the galvanized heart from this one, and then I removed the hangers from both of them. Now, if you want to put wood filler in these holes, you can. I usually just wrap jute around it and cover up the holes that way because they don't bother me too badly. But if they bother you, fix them. Then I'm going to sand off the parts that ripped. Now, I did rip off a little too much, and my little wood crevices or whatever kind of came apart. So be really careful when you're pulling off that galvanized heart. But went ahead and sanded these down as much as I could to make sure that when I paint over them, they look as good as possible. I'm starting out with Waverly white chalk paint. I love chalk paint for everything, and I love Waverly. It's my favorite kind of chalk paint, and it's the only one I've ever used, so that's probably why it's my favorite. So I'm going to start with this, and I'm just going to paint over my two boards with this Waverly white chalk paint. It is going to take me 2 coats to cover these words. I always personally buy the white ones. They also have this sign in red. I prefer the white just because whatever color I want to paint these, it's going to be easier to do because they're white. So I go ahead and give both of these signs 2 coats of this Waverly white chalk paint, and I used my hair dryer in between both times to make sure that it dries really quick so I can get on with my projects. Okay, once they both had 2 dry coats, I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle, and I'm going to put just a little bit of this in my tray because I'm not going to use a ton of this, but I am going to take a little sponge that has sort of a flat edge on it, and I'm going to get just a little bit on it, and I'm going to go over my little grooves because I want this to still look like that, have that shiplap look to it. So I'm going to go over my grooves because I painted over them. It was too hard for me to not paint over them, so I just went ahead and painted the whole thing, but I went back over my grooves so I could make sure you could tell there were grooves in it. I wanted that shiplap look. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to dry brush this to make it look weathered. Dry brushing is just taking a brush, putting a very minimum amount of paint on it and going over it to make it look like weathered wood. So I'm going to do both of those with my truffle colored chalk paint. Okay, and here's where I am dry brushing on the truffle colored chalk paint onto the white. And I want it to be subtle, but I definitely want you to be able to see it. So I'm kind of just going back and forth until I like the way that it looks. Okay, next I'm going to take these jumbo popsicle sticks and turn my boards over. Now you can get these jumbo popsicle sticks at the Dollar Tree now. I saw some at my local Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put some hot glue on the back, and I'm going to stick the boards together with these. This will really stabilize it, and it will help your boards stay together really well. Now I will say this sign is going to be flimsy because these boards are flimsy. So this is not going to be a heavy duty sign, but these popsicle sticks really will help fortify your board and keep it together. I did not glue this board together any other way besides these popsicle sticks. So I'm kind of counting on these popsicle sticks to hold together, but I made a sign similar to this last year. I'll link that video down below, and these popsicle sticks are still holding that sign together, so I definitely can vouch for them. Okay, so next I took a free printable. I will link the free printable down below. This is a banner, actually, a free printable banner. And I just printed out the letters that I needed for the word welcome, and I cut out my letters. And I'm going to Mod Podge these letters onto my sign. So I really liked the look of these letters, and I liked the handwriting. And so I printed these out and just went to cutting them out. I first put the Mod Podge down and then glued the letters down, and leaving the O blank because I used the galvanized heart from the sign that we took off at the beginning for the O, and then I went back over all these letters and Mod Podged over them, and I just think it turned out beautifully. I love the font of these letters. I love the heart as the O, and it is Valentine's Day themed, but I'll probably leave this up all year round. I think it's turned out beautifully. Again, sorry I'm a little bit out of frame, but next I took some jute and I just wrapped it around the top to cover up those holes, but I also just really like jute on my signs. So I wrapped some jute around the top, and then I wrapped some jute around the bottom. I just like the way that looks wrapped around signs. And then I glued a couple of my leftover flowers to the edge of the top of the sign, and I think it looked gorgeous. Alright guys, that was it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this DIY. And if you did, then please give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you guys. I read every single comment, so comment down below. Let me know what you thought, and I will see you guys in my next video.